All right, guys, welcome to the Crawford County, Illinois Ghost Hunter Society live talk show. My name is Jason Snyder, and I'll be your host tonight for episode number 30 of the Crawford County, Illinois Ghost Hunter Society talk show. We are going to review our investigation from Friday night, so definitely hang in there, guys. It's going to be a good one. But you guys can visit our website at crawfordcountyghosthunters.org. We've got it scrolling across the bottom there. If you guys want to check that out, please feel free. But we also have an email address that you can check out at illinoishauntings@gmail.com. If you guys want to give us a email, let us know, if you got a haunted place out there you want us to investigate, or send us a message on our page. We definitely we'll try to check into any location that we feel is legit and has legitimate paranormal activity. If you have some strange things going on, don't be afraid to email us. We'd rather come check it out and come up with a natural explanation for it, or find something, possibly in the rare cases. But don't be afraid to email us and have us check out your place, your business, anything. We do that free of charge. Or send us a message on our Facebook page if you do not want to send us an email. Our Facebook page is /Crawford County Ghost Hunters. If you're watching out there on that, we also dual stream to YouTube. So it's youtube.com /Crawford County Ghost Hunters, or at Crawford County Ghost Hunters on YouTube. So definitely check that out. We also have an Instagram page, Instagram /Crawford County Ghost Hunters, or follow us at Crawford County Ghost Hunters on Instagram. As always, tonight's music was by the Midnight Syndicate. All rights reserved, used with permission. You can check their website out at midnightsyndicate.com. So if you guys are into scary music, definitely check out midnightsyndicate.com on Spotify, YouTube, and their website. So we are going to get started here tonight and talk about what we done Friday night. If you guys did not watch that, it was a pretty cool investigation, really. I was kind of impressed by the house and the place. Just may not be haunted. The story may be hokey, but we definitely had a good time there. The staff was incredible. But what I'm speaking of is Whispers Estate in Mitchell, Indiana. So you guys missed our live paranormal investigation from Whispers Estate last Friday night. We got there about I believe it was 7 p.m. is when we started our live Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Indiana time. But we had a pretty cool investigation there. We had Ed Reese, myself, Jason Snyder. We had Courtney Mendenhall, Amanda Rout, and Amanda Johnson. And one of our new team members, Shane Wheeler, show up for that investigation. Really cool time. We've been wanting to investigate this place for a while. We've heard a lot about it, a lot of rumors. It seems like when we talk about Indiana, people are always like, have you been to Whispers Estate? And, we had never checked that place out. We've been to Willows Weep. We've been to Step Cemetery. We've been to, a lot of locations in Indiana. but we had never investigated Whisper's estate. So that's what we're going to talk about a little tonight. What happened there. The Whisper's estate, the story was there was a doctor, and his name was Dr. John Gibbons, and he was the famous person supposedly haunting Whisper's estate. He had a doctor's office there that he moved there around 1910, I believe it was. The oldest known records, I think, go back to 1894. They purchased the place from I think it was a George and Sarah White around 1901. And the story starts there, into some weird stuff where supposedly a lot of Gibbons' family died and passed away, of mysterious causes. He had a lot of orphans, which we could not confirm at all. We could not confirm the story of Rachel, which is one of the big legends and lore of Whisper's estate. We can find absolutely no documentation she ever existed. But the big story is she died in a fire around Christmas time. I believe it was 1914, the area of 1914. We can't find anything regarding that. We cannot find anything regarding the about 5 other deaths that supposedly took place in Whisper's estate too. So we debunked a lot of stuff, or we believe we've debunked a lot of stuff. That could be legend and lore that's been passed down verbally too, and there's just no historical records of it. But we can't find any records of, multiple orphans that this John Gibbons owned dying in the home. There is some records somewhat of Jesse, his wife, died in 1934 of double lung pneumonia, and she died up in a room that we investigated. We did find records of that. Other than that, we couldn't find a lot of records of anybody passing away in the house, nor records of Rachel even ever existing. So we kind of debunked that right off the bat with historical research on Rachel and the Gibbons family. We went out to the cemetery, looked at the cemetery. The only thing we could find at the cemetery was John and his wife, Jesse, out there, and she died in 1934. He died in 1944. So, he died later on, and they say he had an accident. I read where some accounts where he may have gotten in a vehicle accident or got hit by a vehicle. But anyway, he kind of went crazy afterwards, and they did an insanity inquest on him, and it came out to where he was proven not to be legally insane. So there were some papers in the mansion kind of documenting that event about them doing the insanity inquest on him. Cool place, though, even though I think a lot of the story is made up to hype the place up. As always, I don't know why places can't just tell a legit story about historical facts. And we based all of our research upon historical facts, not psychic babble, psychic research that some psychic came in and said, oh, this happened. Rachel died in a fire. Some Christmas tree fell over on her and the candles burned her dress and she died 3 days later. We don't deal with psychic stuff like that because anybody can say anything regarding that. So we want cold, hard historical documentation and facts regarding who died at these places, events that took place. Now, we did find around the 1917, 1918 area, the house was struck by lightning. That's what caused some of the charring in the house that people say was the fire that probably killed Rachel. I think that's been made up a little over the years. But there's a room where people bring their dolls, and there's this doll that I'm going to talk about, which is creepy as heck, but pretty cool looking. But even though some of the story I think can be debunked, some of the history that they're telling about can be, debunked. I don't think a lot of that happened. I think, maybe a couple people died in the house that they have, documentation of, possibly. John Gibbons and his wife, Jessie. Helen was a daughter they had. Now, Helen, we found records, she died in 1994 and not in the house. So she didn't even die in the house. And that's the only known daughter on record that we could find that the Gibbons had. It said they adopted several orphans. Supposedly, Dr. John Gibbons, though, was more of a doctor that geared himself toward like the kids and, helping, kids, and he had a surgery room in there, and they're just estimating and guessing that people died, during his time period that he had the doctor's office and the surgery area in there. It's all speculation, where's the records, of that? Where the records of deaths that took place in there? They don't have any. So, I don't I don't know about all that either. But is the house haunted? I don't know. We didn't really find anything major except for video. I'm going to show you guys that we still kind of are sitting back scratching our heads over. We don't know what caused this. Right now, we don't have a natural explanation for it, but we don't really know if it's paranormal either. But I'm going to play that video for you guys here after a while if you missed our live investigation at Whispers Estates, or if you just want to know our conclusion on, this video and us trying to debunk it. If you watched our investigation, we tried like heck to debunk this event that took place pretty much 10 minutes into our investigation. We got set up, we started doing the investigation portion. I was getting ready to do an EVP session. And during that EVP session, Dickerson radios me and says, "Hey, Snyder, there's this weird light. And I don't know what it is." And so he almost said he didn't tell us about it because, he didn't want to seem like, some big deal, and it might just been like the outside porch lights kicking on, causing this into our IR camera, which we totally eliminated. But just a lot of weird stuff. And we're going to talk about this video here in a minute. But before we go into that, I'm going to show you guys some pictures that we took at Whispers Estate this last Friday. I believe that was the 22nd. We were there. If I can get to him here. Now, we started out, like I say, in the cemetery investigating, some of the story of the Gibbons family. Here's a shot of me and Courtney at the cemetery. You can see the Mitchell water tower in the background. Again, this house is located in Mitchell, Indiana, and the cemetery is right there in town where the famous Gibbons family is buried. And you can't really see it down toward the feet because I've got it blocked with the Whispers Estate thing. But there's two graves, the graveside of John and his wife there. So that's the grave site right there. And I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to turn my comments on so I can see those here in a minute too. So I'm not watching the comments right now. But the next picture I'm going to show you guys is a group shot we took there, just to throw that up there. But like I say, we had Dickerson, myself, Ed Reese, Amanda Johnson, Amanda Routon, Courtney, and Shane was taking that picture, Shane Wheeler, so he's not in this one. But it was a cool place, though. I mean, this is the picture of Whispers Estate. When we get there, really neat house. It's got a wraparound porch on the front. And I do want to say, the staff was Shonda was her name. She was incredible. And I told her straight up when we got there, I pretty much didn't want to hear anything that involved psychic babble or psychic nonsense. If it was part of the history of that house, that we base our facts off of, our information off of facts and take a scientific approach to investigating paranormal occurrences and phenomena. So she was real understanding about that. So a lot of these places want to tell you, a psychic claimed to see this, or a psychic says this happened. We don't really want to hear that because, again, it's just hearsay. But, I let her know our approach and our opinion right off the bat. She was extremely, willing to accept that and stayed out of our way all night. We hardly seen the lady. So, I mean, it was really cool. We forgot she was there a lot of the times. And she was just really helpful when we needed information from her and let us know when she was up moving around. I mean, she was an extremely nice lady. And, I recommend any paranormal team, if they want to check this place out, definitely do it because, we went in there and, we look for everything when we go into a new place. I mean, we look to make sure, there's no wires running somewhere that could be hooked to speakers or internal speakers that could be activated by some type of Wi-Fi or radio source, RF source. And we look at picture frames, make sure there's no hidden cameras, or there's even devices now, where you can hit a remote control and throw picture frames off the wall. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff like fake haunted houses have out there that some of these places, they're bringing in real paranormal investigators, try to trick people with, these devices. So we go all through the house, with a fine tooth comb, like it's a crime scene. We look at every little inch of the house to make sure there's no fakery going on. And this place checked out clean. We couldn't find any evidence that they were trying to fake anything. And that's a plus. I've been to locations like even Ashmore States where like I've questioned, why are there speakers up on, in the ceiling, up in the corners? And why is there a Wi-Fi signal that we're told doesn't exist there? That makes me question things. That throws up red flags when there's speakers and Wi-Fi signal inside a place and supposedly it has no Wi-Fi. This place checked out good as far as, we don't think they're trying to pull anything on anybody. We think, if stuff happens there, it's probably legitimate paranormal activity as long as, somebody's sneaking in and doing it. So again, a plus. So we went through there. We didn't get a lot of activity at all. We checked out Rachel's room and we checked out the other rooms upstairs, not a whole lot of activity. But what we got later on, here's another cool picture from inside, guys. There's a lot of Ouija boards in there, which is pretty neat. They do a lot of like seances and they try to contact, the past family members that have lived there. So, it's kind of neat in that aspect as far as like, I'm a big fan of, or I collect Ouija boards. I don't think Ouija boards are good for investigations, because they don't really work. It's just your subconscious mind pushing these things. But I do collect, old boards and stuff just because it's a paranormal type item. But just my kind of place when you got skulls and Ouija boards laying around everywhere. It's a pretty neat atmosphere, especially if you are a paranormal investigator, somebody interested in ghosts and hauntings. It's a cool place to check out. And the house is beautiful. It is just a neat old house with like a lot of rooms like tucked away, a lot of little secret compartments, and they got little tables where Ouija boards everywhere in these little rooms off to the side. The house is way bigger on the inside than it looks from the outside. It's crazy. Like it looks kind of small from the outside, but when you get inside, it's like it keeps going and going. It's kind of like the Winchester Mystery House. It's not quite that big, but it is a neat old house. Show you some more pictures from inside. Here's another photograph from inside. A cool picture of, some of the old books and candles and skulls. So you just got to get an idea of, how they've got the house set up in there. We're going to post all these pictures also when I get time on our Facebook page. We're going to make a Whispers Estate album, post all these up with our group shots and all the photographs we took during our investigation. This room here was really interesting. It was part, this room was part of basically the doctor's office area where John Gibbons supposedly moved his doctor's office into around the 1910 area. You can see some of the older bottles and stuff in the glass cabinet here in this photograph, and the skull candles. It was kind of close up in the last one. Another thing that was really cool in the house is a old a doll. Now this one came from Rachel's room, I believe. Got to get these rooms straight. Now this doll, there's a little story behind it. Supposedly it went missing from the house, for several months, I guess, and came up missing. And then when it returned, it was burnt and on fire, kind of like the story of Rachel. Now, if you look close enough at this doll, you can see that it's been singed. Its hair has been singed. Its dress has been singed by a heat source, most likely either a blowtorch or a lighter, in my opinion. I would say what happened is somebody stole this thing or something along those lines, and then took a lighter or a blowtorch and brought it back and said, oh my gosh, we've got a burnt doll that matches up with the story of Rachel. So we kind of debunked this little doll. I don't think this thing appeared like this after it went missing. I would say this is just part of the hype that they want people to believe. There's no evidence, whatsoever that this could be real. But that's the story. It went missing and it came back burnt like this when it showed back up. It could have, you never know. We've seen strange things happen. We get marbles thrown at us every once in a while. So, I'm not saying that didn't happen, but my logical mind says that it was probably put there as a staged item. I don't like that. Next thing I want to talk about is a mirror basically a room in the attic. They put mirrors all around that they called the Oculus room. And in this photograph, we got Amanda Johnson and Courtney Mendenhall. And I actually did a single session in there where they locked me in this room on our investigation. We heard some taps, and I think the growls that were heard during that were possibly stomach growls. And I didn't realize it, but a couple of the team members were still sitting outside in the hallway. And they said they heard the taps from within inside the room that I was locked in, but they don't know about the growls, whether they were stomach or not. So we got to rule those out as stomach growls. Anytime we hear growls, that's generally what it is. Even if you don't subconsciously know your stomach is growling, a lot of times, it will pick it up on audio through the camera or recording devices. So you got to kind of rule out growls a lot of times that's stomach and debunk it. But that is it's a cool room. I say that thing was full of mirrors and just creepy as heck. Forgot to show that picture, but there's me holding the singed doll as I was examining it, because I looked at it. I turned it around on both sides, and you can do the same thing to a doll with a lighter or a blowtorch. So I would say that's probably how this happened. I would say somebody stole the doll, brought it back, singed it, put it in the case. Hopefully the staff themselves didn't do this just to hype the story up. Hopefully, it was somebody investigating that was just, trying to be dumb and did this. So I'm not blaming the staff on this, not accusing anyone of doing that. But again, that's my thought behind the doll. So here's another group photo we took inside the house of Whispers Estate. Really cool fireplace with Whispers Estate across the front of it. And again, it got its name because people were experiencing disembodied voices inside the house on occasions. They would hear just voices out of nowhere, and it'd be like it was whispering in their ears. So Whispers Estate kind of stuck. Whispers Estate was not the original name of this homestead or this original house. This is kind of what the nickname it was given over the years because of the paranormal activity associated with this house. And but really cool house. I do recommend, anybody that's into the paranormal to check it out, because I want to talk about now that I've shown some of the pictures. We got Dickerson there, by the way, Amanda Johnson, Amanda Roughton, myself, Courtney Mendenhall, Ed Reese, and Shane Wheeler to the far left. So that's the group we had in there that night. Try to get to my video section so I can show you guys the video. Let me get that picture off there. I'm going to try to check your comments real quick, too, see what you guys are saying. Tammy Jo said that room made me dizzy. All the mirrors are bizarre. Yeah, Paula and Tammy, like I talked about that night, there's a big thing behind mirrors and paranormal occurrences. Some people believe mirrors are dimensional doorways to the other side, or they're dimensional portals where, ghosts and supernatural beings or multidimensional beings can enter into our world and go back and forth. Even like the late Sarah Estep, she passed away. She was the founder of the American Association for Electronic Voice Phenomena. I had a conversation with her one time. I don't know if you guys have watched the movie White Noise back in the day, but that movie was kind of based upon her and her research. They kind of butchered it big time. But Sarah Estep was a pioneer pretty much in the electronic voice phenomena, world. And I talked to her several times on the phone. I've got some of her tapes she gave me, even of her EVP sessions that she done. But she was a big believer, and she said that she got messages several times, EVP messages from, spirits of the dead telling her to use a mirror with her voice recorders, to set up a mirror and then try to record EVP, with in some type of recording device. Back then it was probably a cassette recorder, she was trying this with. But they claim that they could communicate better with the mirror. Why? We don't know. Is there anything to it? I don't know. I've tried it several times. I've tried experiments using mirrors. I've never got anything extraordinary doing it. But I thought, this is cool, because I've never tried it in a room full of mirrors like that, completely from top to bottom. I was walking on mirrors. They were cracking, which is probably bad luck. But like some of the mirrors felt like they were cracking under my feet. So To my knowledge, I mean, I've got to re-listen to those EVP sessions, but I don't believe we captured anything inside the mirror room. So I was kind of disappointed just because of that. But it's still a cool idea, cool theory. You know, maybe we just went on an off night. Maybe we didn't get anything paranormal, that night. You know, that happens. Stuff doesn't happen every night you go somewhere. So, but we just didn't have anything happen to us. Yes, Travis, that place is located in like a neighborhood. It is in an urban area, and there are houses nearby. That's another thing we're real concerned with, the people reporting voices. Anytime you get a house in town with, any thin walls or anything like that, you can get, what people perceive to be voices coming from nowhere when actually it's your neighbors yelling at their cat or dog outside. So, yes, it is located in an urban area, like in town. They're in Mitchell, so the voices could be from anywhere. That could be debunked pretty easily. Has been neighbors. Hey, Joe, we got Joe Terry watching tonight out there too. Looks like we got Jennifer Baker watching. Hey, Jenny, and a lot of people watching. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. But the neighbors could be causing some of the whispers people perceive to be hearing inside this house. We did debunk a door. We watched a lot of videos online on YouTube of several teams and investigators catching a door up there in one of the rooms that opens. And we immediately went to that door and looked at it, and it has pressure that it actually pulls out and open. So any type of environmental change, if you've got like a cold or heat, change in that wall or that wood, it could pop that door open and swing out the way it does. Now, if the door handle turns, that's something different. But when a door just pops like straight open and comes open, that usually can be debunked by, you jar the floor, you hit the wall, it comes open. Even like stepping into another room and jarring it just right can pop a door open. Environmental changes, like I say, hot, the cold. What we're looking for to say a door is actually paranormal is like we want to see the door handle turn. We want to see it open and close. Like we actually had a similar event at McPike Mansion that we couldn't really debunk because it looked like the door handle turned, the door opened, the door closed, and we also got a voice on our ghost box at the same exact time said I got killed, and we picked up video evidence of some type of light anomaly going through there all at the same time. We had 3 pieces of evidence suggesting this is something weird and not just a door popping open from air currents and drafts, circulating throughout the house. Otherwise, we would have debunked it immediately as just a air current opening the door. But when it opens and shuts, that's pretty weird, especially the doors there because they're huge and they're big. It takes a lot of force. That was our first investigation at Pike. We all know what happened on the second one, but that's a different story. The Whispers Estate was pretty good. We had a pretty good investigation there. Delmer says, yeah, I've seen TV shows or TVs showing unexplained pics. If you set to the channel and a video camera directly into it, zoom in, mysterious images will appear. Not sure what he means by that, but the video camera directly into it, zoom in, mysterious images will appear. Obviously, talking about mirrors still. Explain that a little better, Delmer. But I'm going to get right to the video, guys, because this, we don't really have a natural explanation for, and we don't have a paranormal explanation for it either. We don't know what caused this. So it's kind of on the fence right now. But I'm going to try to get to the video and show you what we captured about almost 10, 15 minutes into the investigation. And we captured it 3 times on our video. The time I'm going to show you is when Dickerson's radioing me and I'm starting an EVP session. He says, oh my God, you got to come look at this. And we captured this, have no idea what it is. We tried like heck to debunk this, but I'm going to show it to you. And then I'm going to tell you how we tried to debunk it. And it happened 2 more times while me and Amanda were upstairs trying to debunk and look at windows and see if they're all covered. I guess the light source happened 2 more times while we were standing there and we did not physically see it with our eyes. So that tells me something weird. It tells me it wasn't a power surge, of the lights because we didn't physically see the lights surging. Myself and Amanda Johnson were standing there. No lights surged. There was no brightness level change in the house. It was not storming. There was no lightning. All the windows are blacked out. Keep in mind, the windows have black, like tape and cardboard, and the windows are solid blacked out with curtains over that. So there was no outside light sources getting in. There was a motion activated garage light where we had our command center set up outside running our cameras in. We tripped it, nothing. I mean, you couldn't see any change in light inside the house or anything. We covered a glass globe on a lamp that was right in front of our IR camera, thinking maybe IR light was being reflected off of this glass globe back into our IR camera and was causing some sort of IR camera malfunction. Couldn't get it to duplicate. We couldn't get it to happen again after those 3 occurrences right off the bat. And we had it there the rest of the night. I didn't want to move the camera angle and change cameras. So, because I did not want the angle to be moved or messed with in case it was some sort of natural light coming out of our IR and bouncing off that light globe. I didn't want to move our camera to eliminate, that perfect angle to have it happen again. But it never happened again. The rest of the night. It happened 3 times right when we got there, and then never again, and the camera never changed angles or moved. So if it was an IR or camera malfunction, we don't know how it was happening. My only explanation is it was a flood of IR light or a flood of UV light or some type of light we couldn't hear either above or below what we can see, because we didn't see it with our naked eyes. The camera doesn't seem to go blurry either. It's like a burst of light comes through and then it doesn't cause the camera to go blurry really. It just, I'll show you guys the video, but we were still unable to come up with a natural explanation for this. I mean, could be paranormal, but I'm going to show you guys the video real quick and play that for you.
Dr. John, are you up here?
All right, I'm going to play that again because it's kind of quick. I'm going to play it 2 or 3 times here so you guys can see the burst of light. And it almost looks like it comes from down the hallway toward the camera where the light, there is a overhead light on. That's the only light on up there. There's an overhead light down through that doorway that is on. And the light never changed in intensity or anything when we were up there when it happened a second and third time. And this light burst comes through. And here it is again.
Dr. John, are you up here?
I'll play it one more time so you guys can see it.
Dr. John, are you up here?
Okay, there it was, guys. It's like a burst of light. And Dickerson said it happened 2 times while me and Amanda went immediately up there to try to debunk it. And I have absolutely no idea what caused that. I'm not saying it's paranormal, but I cannot find a natural explanation for it. And trust me, we tried. We tried everything we could think of. We made sure all the like I say, the windows were blacked out. We tripped the outside motion activated light on the garage. Didn't do anything. We covered the globe that was hanging in front of the IR camera about 5 to 7 yards out with a towel to make sure IR light wasn't reflecting off it back into the camera. Nothing could recreate this, and nothing caused it to happen again. So I have no clue. I mean, I don't know what it is. I mean, that just says has to be paranormal. As of right now, I'm leaving it as an unexplained burst of light, and I don't know what it is. Like I say, can't find a natural explanation for it, but I don't want to label it as paranormal because, I guess it could be. I just don't want to label it as paranormal because, I don't know what it is. So I guess it's paranormal in a way, but it's unexplained. Let's just put it at that right now. But it was really cool. So, it wasn't like the whole night was a bust or anything. We did get, this weird light anomaly burst that is unexplainable at this point. We'll just leave it at that. We are going to post it up, I think. As soon as I get time, my time is like, I have a heck of a time getting stuff posted after investigations. We do review all our evidence. We just don't get stuff posted on the page all the time. But when I get time to post the video, make a little video out of it, I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to post the pictures from that night and post it up kind of as an unexplainable light burst anomaly and share it around and see if anybody out there can explain it. Do you guys have any explanation for this? Just kind of leave it at that and see, what we come up with. But yeah, it's really cool. I mean, and it happened like 3 times with no explanation. So, but we went the rest, we went till, I don't know, almost midnight with our live feed. And since it was our first time ever being at Whistler's Estate, we don't like to go live the whole, 8 to hours or however many hours we're there. We like to go live for about half, and then have the rest of the 4 hours for us to, set in the dark with no camera lights, and do a real hardcore scientific investigation of the place, without the live feed in our face, because I can't see anything when I'm filming. When they're filming me and that bright camera light is on, I've lost all night vision. I can't see anything that's around me other than that camera. So, if Abe Lincoln walks out in front of me, I can't see him. So that's why when we're at a place for the first time, sometimes we won't do a part 2. We will just investigate it for the 4 hours and then cut off and then do our own investigation after that. Because, we wanted to make sure that, there wasn't any paranormal activity happening without the lights on. We went lights out most of the time, after, you guys seen us go off the air. That's what we do. We go lights out. We're completely quiet, listen for any type of sounds. Just like we do at Pine Lawn, we sit there, we watch our meters. We see if the eddy meters have picked anything up, the tri-fields, the EMF, that's more of our scientific, type investigation when we don't have the live feed going, because it's just so hard to investigate while the light's in your face. But we want to show you guys these places. So that's why we do it. And we capture a lot on our live feed. So don't get me wrong, that live feed is cool because a lot of times you guys will hear EVPs. Like I tell you, a lot on our live feeds, you will hear things, you will see things that we can't through the camera lens and the audio on our camera. And it's like having another paranormal investigation or 2 investigations in one, because you guys are out there watching, trying to find stuff too. And that really helps us. I mean, and we've captured a lot of evidence on live. Matter of fact, I think we've captured more evidence. I say we go lights out and don't use the live to see what happens, but I think we've captured more on live than we have not going live. So it definitely doesn't hurt us by going live for sure. I mean, it actually helps us because we've caught a lot of good stuff going live. We've even caught the dice being thrown at Pine Lawn on live feed. I had it on the floor when that happened. We've got marbles at Pine Lawn being thrown on live feed. So, but it's a pretty neat place. If you are an investigator out there, I do recommend, you check it out. I don't think the story of all the deaths and stuff in there it checks out, but it's weird because they kind of sell that part as legend and lore, not actual historical facts. So you got to be careful when they're telling the story, or if they tell you the story. They didn't even tell us the story because I'd researched it. And she said, "Oh, you've done your research, haven't you?" And, so they didn't even really give us a history type haunting tour of the house because I flat out told her we didn't want to hear psychic nonsense. But I mean, you got to be careful when you go to these places, guys, especially if you are an investigator out there watching, to make sure you separate the lore and the hype of some of these places from the actual events that took place. Because, you get a story that sticks over a 5-year period, well, then it becomes truth instead of something that was made up. It's funny how lies become the truth over so many years. I think that's what's happened here. I think the story of Rachel just kind of stuck. People kept telling that story and over again until, oh, now it's the truth. So got to be careful with places like that. Even though, like I say, I don't believe they're legitimately trying to hoax anybody. or really mislead anybody. The history is a little misleading, but as far as the activity, there could have been paranormal activity. And in 2000, I think it was 2010, it was rated as one of the top 4 most terrifying places in the United States. This place was. I mean, I would definitely not even put it on my top 10 list, but nothing terrifying about it, in my opinion. But it's a cool house. I mean, it's somewhere you should investigate if you think of, if you like old houses, especially old houses. I mean, it's really neat to see. But guys, that's what I wanted to do tonight, basically, is just kind of give you an overview of what happened to us, at Whispers of Spade, and what happened to us after the lights went out. Nothing much. We went lights out and we quit going live. I went and laid in Jesse's bed. I went and laid in Rachel's bed and just sat there in the dark. I think Ed went up to a bed where there was reports of one lady, when she laid there, she felt like she had been sunken, like kind of pulled down and sunken into the bed, and claimed to have weird experiences, like she was being dragged away to some place. It tells the story in the room about this lady. Ed went up, laid in that bed, and I tried both beds where supposedly, John's wife died and Rachel supposedly passed away, but thing about it, everything has been brought into this house. There's only a few original things from the house in the case downstairs. I think everything from the bed frames to all the dolls to the marbles, the pennies, they have brought all this stuff in. People have donated this to the house. So, it's not like Pylon where this stuff's coming out of nowhere, marbles and pennies. They've got marbles and pennies people have brought in to try to get this thing to throw. Nothing got thrown at us from nowhere. It's like, that's another thing too. There was so much stuff, like so many objects laying around. You couldn't it's extremely hard to document that place on what could appear tomorrow or, what was there last night. It's hard to determine that because there's so many pennies, so many marbles that people just bring in, Jack's toys, dolls, Ouija boards. I mean, you name it. If it's like kids stuff, these people are bringing it in and leaving it, kind of donate to the house. So it's kind of just full of all these objects, which could have residual activity itself. Who knows where some of these dolls came from. Some of these dolls could have some type of residual, paranormal activity associated with it, which could increase the activity in the house. But it's a cool place, though. Not somewhere I want to jump back to anytime soon. Like one time is good enough for us to investigate that place right now. Unless the lights got me wondering. I mean, I still can't explain the light. So that's pretty cool. That's what makes the whole place not a bust. I mean, we definitely captured an unexplained light, as long as it wasn't a camera malfunction of some type, which we don't think it was. Trying to read all your comments now. But if you guys don't have any comments out there, we're probably going to end the show early. I'll kind of open it up for comments or questions. If you guys have any of the last 10 minutes of the show here, if not, we're going to end it pretty quick tonight because we are going out again tonight to an undisclosed location. We are not going live. But guys, we are going live Thursday night. It's going to be the full moon Thursday night. So look forward to that. We are going live Thursday night this week. Craig says, but nothing from the doc. Wait a minute. It said, I'll start at the beginning here. Deidre says, when you were on the bed, it looked like the bedspread moved by the floor on your side. Did you see that when you went back over the footage? It was when the suitcase was pulled out from under the bed. I know someone else said they saw it also. Just wondered. I had not went back and looked at that. I actually forgot, and thank you for bringing that up. We will go back and look at that because I remember a couple other people mentioning that too on the live feed. So I asked, I don't know if it was Ed, I don't remember who was in there at that time, but he thinks it was from him somebody pulling the suitcase out that dress was in, moved the bedspread, but we'll go back and check that for sure. Craig says, but nothing from the doctor. Not really. We didn't get a whole lot. We called out the doctor's name. We called out Dr. John Gibbons. Are you here? Nothing. We didn't get anything. Paul says, where are you going to take us for the next paranormal adventure? Well, you will definitely find out for that. We are going to investigate. This is going to be next month. We got a big investigation planned for the Draper Cabin, I think I told you guys about, and Step Cemetery. We're going to spend the night in Draper Cabin, which is behind Step Cemetery in Morgan Monroe State Park over in Indiana, which has a lot of reports of paranormal activity. The cabin is extremely haunted, they say. The woods is haunted. Step, we've investigated several times before, but we'll probably return to it while we're in the area because it's right there. A couple other cemeteries there, but that's going to be a good one next month. But we're going to try to get a really good one going every month for sure, and keep getting more and more going as we go through the year. But we will be doing an investigation Thursday night. We're going to go live for full moon. It was Ed's foot. Awesome. Can't wait for your next live, Deb says. Looked like somebody messed with it from the bottom, like pushing it up, Tiffany says. Okay, we'll look at that. I mean, I'll definitely go back and try to do that maybe tomorrow when I get time and look at that video footage. Thursday can't come fast enough. We'll be at Pylon on Thursday for the full moon. Maybe. We're going to be somewhere for the full moon. I'll let you know that. We had originally talked about going to a really cool place, but I've heard like Thursday is supposed to be extremely cold, guys, outside, and this was going to be an outdoor location. So we probably will change it to an indoor location. Unfortunately, we'll see what happens. It's a full moon. Clue that Thursday is Pylon. What time? We will probably go live around 7 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. It won't be any later than that Thursday. So, all right, guys. If you don't have any more questions, I'm going to wrap this one up tonight. I just want to give you guys an evidence review from Whispers Estate. I would say, it's a cool place. Not on my top 10 haunted places list, but I'm not debunking the whole place as, having nothing there. It could be haunted. We were only there once, but I would say it's not the most active place in the world. And I cannot explain the light in the video as of right now. So that's kind of my take on Whispers Estate. I definitely recommend it. If you want to go see it, if you're an investigator out there, definitely check it out because you may have a better night than we did. So, yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for watching. And again, thank you everyone. Oh, and I want to thank everybody out there for, we put a donation thing on there. We don't usually ask for donations, but a couple of you had mentioned, donations. So we put our PayPal link up on the page here a while back and got a few donations. We want to thank everybody that did donate to us. We appreciate that. It helps with purchasing new equipment, investigation, expense costs and stuff for paranormal research, So we put a lot of our own money into this too. So thank you guys. And definitely have a good night out there. And we'll see you guys this Thursday for a live feed around 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Take care out there, guys. Be safe.